I'm Philip Stoten. I'm here at SMTAi in Chicago, and I'm joined by Chris Bastecki from Indium Corporation. Chris, thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure.
We were talking off camera a little bit about a new product you brought to the market, and what I think is really interesting is Indium's got this approach to just kind of problem solving and this real connection engineer to engineer with your clients. Tell me a bit about how you kind of came across this issue and how you resolved it.
Well, the low temp issue is a big issue. I guess it's been around, we've been talking about it for 3-4 years now, and it's driven by a couple factors, but the big problem that we've had is the solutions have tended to really been restrictive on the fact that the low temp options are all very brittle. So when you impart any energy on them, they tend to crack. Even, I think I was mentioned to you, even when you just take a circuit board and flex it, a lot of these solder joints, the low temp stuff will break. And that really makes it not so suitable for many applications. There's some that still work, but for many it doesn't. So we wanted to come up with something. We're a material science company, that's what we're about. We have a lot of scientists and we work on material science, so we kind of gave them the challenge to come up with something that would be more robust and might have better fracture toughness properties and tough and be able to absorb that energy.
Okay. And when I look at the graphs you've got on your thing, you've done that, but you've done it at a kind of quite a grand scale. You've really moved the durability of the product up quite substantially.
Yeah, a lot of these products that have been offered for low temp kind of give incremental improvements to either thermal cycling or drop shock. For this, the drop shock's really what's tough with the low temp stuff. And this is not an incremental improvement. It's kind of it's a whole new world. So you might go from, depending upon what type of drop shock test you do, you might go from one drop that breaks all your joints, or maybe I've seen some that go to maybe 25 drops, but you're going to, it depends on the test, but hundreds or thousands of drops. It's actually comparable to SAC 305.
Wow.
Depending upon, there's process, how you have to process it too, but under certain process conditions, we can get equivalent performance in drop shock to SAC 305, which is, that's really, we're very excited about that.
Yeah, it's really significant. And just broadening out to your general kind of approach, as you say, you're material science guys, how do you maintain that kind of leadership, and is it down to kind of field and service guys finding out what the customer wants? Do the customers come to you? Do you share roadmaps? How do you stay ahead?
Well, we do all those things. The different people do different roles. Dr. Lee is our CTO, and he has a lot of connections to the industry. So he's in touch with leaders of other companies. They do roadmap sessions and share. So he knows what's coming down the pike maybe in 3-5 years or so. So he gets kind of a nice view. Shorter term view, our tech service folks, they're in the field, in the trenches with the customers, and they're listening to what's needed right now and kind of fine-tuning those, let's say, grander roadmap issues with how to make it work today.
Yeah, and then you get down in the detail and you're solving specific problems. And do you find a lot of variation between what's going on here in the US and what's going on in, say, Europe or Asia? Or these days, is it kind of the same issues everywhere?
If it's the same segment, if you're working on the same segment, you see the same problems. But each region of the world kind of focuses or has their areas of emphasis in different segments. So that's a little bit different. But once you're in a segment, I think they're pretty common obstacles and technical challenges.
Yeah, so that's the difference between automotive, between, I don't know, cell phones, miniaturization, those kind of things. Lots of variation there. Chris, thanks very much for stopping by and telling us about the new product. Enjoy the rest of the show, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks
a lot.